You can't DIY healing from trauma, but that doesn't stop you from trying. You read self-help books, you watch inspirational YouTube videos, you listen to podcasts, you try meditation. No matter what you try to do to fix this, you aren't seeing real change. And if you don't pay attention to the red flags, you'll be heading for a crisis. Some of the red flags are: you yell at your kids and secretly worry that you're becoming your mother. You want to go for that promotion at work, but you're afraid to and you don't know why. You can feel like you're in a fog and have weird body sensations when you're triggered by something. But the worst red flag comes when you suddenly experience a huge life change, which I call a gate passage, and that brings all of the trauma back up to the surface, and you don't know what to do about it. Here's why the DIY approach does not work. Trauma is stored in your body. When you've experienced childhood trauma, whether it was a one-time thing or repeated ongoing things, your body reacts in very specific ways. You have emotional and physical responses that keeps trauma alive in your feelings and in your body. And when you're triggered, you can re-experience the sense of threat, wanting to run, wanting to fight back, shame, humiliation, wanting to collapse, as if the trauma were happening all over again, even if there's no words or clear memory of what happened. I define trauma as something that's either too much, too fast, too soon, or too long, or a combination of those four things. When you experience trauma, your brain does something very specific. The survival response is an intricate biological system designed to help you live through something. For the purposes of this video, I'll keep it simple. Think of your nervous system as existing in one of three states: window of tolerance, hyperarousal, and hypoarousal. First, let's talk about the window of tolerance. The window of tolerance is a term coined by Dr. Dan Siegel that describes a nervous system state in which you are your most adult and capable self. Your body is relaxed but ready to act. Your breathing is normal, your heart rate steady. You feel like you can access creativity to make a plan and adapt the plan to suit the situation. Most importantly though, when you're in the window of tolerance, all parts of your brain are online. You can think and feel simultaneously. You can find the words you want to use and string them together in a sentence. You can come up with a creative plan and adapt the plan to suit the situation. You can take in new learning. But when you're experiencing something traumatic, your brain sounds the alarm and turns on the survival response. Your brain instinctually, and in no time at all, literally no time, it makes a decision about which survival strategy is going to help you survive. And it only has a few things it can do: fight, flight, freeze, collapse, submit. So let's talk about the second state of your nervous system that gets triggered when you're experiencing something traumatic. And that's hyperarousal. When you are in a hyperaroused state, your body can feel very sped up. You can start to talk rapidly, your eyes move around quickly, your hands and feet start to move, your breathing can be right here and shallow, your heart rate can feel really fast and sped up, your skin gets flushed, you can feel sweaty. So that's your body in a hyperaroused state. But when you are in a hyperaroused state, parts of your brain go offline. because they're not needed for survival. And those are the parts of your brain that can think and feel creatively. You can't do that. That help you find words and string them together. You can't do that. That help you come up with a creative plan and adapt it to suit the situation. Can't do that. You can't take in any new learning when you're in a hyperaroused state. Most people know what fight and flight are, but I'll go over them quickly. Fight is a survival strategy in which you're going to fight your way out of it. Flight is a survival strategy in which you run. Freeze is also a survival strategy when fight or flight don't work. That's when you become like a deer in headlights. Your body won't move, but your eyes might be really wide. So those are the three things that can happen in a hyperaroused state. And that's what happens in your body and in your brain in a hyperaroused state. Now let's talk about the third state of your nervous system, hypoarousal. And in hypoarousal, the strategies are collapse, submit. In a hypoaroused state, rather than being sped up, it slows way down. Your breathing can feel non-existent or very shallow. Your heart rate might slow down. Your body stops moving. You can feel detached from your body and like you're unable to move your body in any way. So that's your body in a hypoaroused state. But interestingly, your brain does the same thing as when you're in a hyperaroused state. Parts of your brain go offline. You can't think and feel simultaneously. You can't think creatively and come up with a plan and adapt the plan. You can't find words and string them together in a coherent way. You can't take in any new learning. When the trauma is over, those parts of your brain come back online. And while your body was 100% there for that traumatic experience, your brain wasn't. And now it's got all of this sensory information that it can't make sense of. That sensory information is what you saw, what you heard, what you smelled, what you touched. Your brain has all that raw data that it doesn't know what to do with. There might not be any words or a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There might just be symptoms. Remember the emotional and physical responses that I talked about earlier? You might feel depressed, anxious, ashamed, have nightmares, a sense of hopelessness, a sense of confusion. Your body might have physical reactions like your feet want to run, your arms might want to push away, your heart might race, you might feel like just giving up. Those are the emotion and body responses that become emotion and body memories that are locked in your body when you've experienced something traumatic. And that's why the DIY approach doesn't work. That's also why traditional talk therapy doesn't work for trauma. Traditional talk therapy can help you talk through things to arrive at insight about what happened and help you do it differently in the future. We used to think this was the gold standard of therapy. What we now understand is that this is a very top-down approach, meaning starting with the thoughts and everything else will take care of itself. Neuroscience research now shows that insight won't help silence the alarm that you're in danger. And without having your whole system online, meaning those parts of your brain that went offline, you're not going to be able to break through the trauma. It still lives in your body, and you feel like it's going to hold you back. We now know that what works best with trauma is a bottom-up approach, meaning start with the body. This approach begins with learning about your nervous system and what it feels like in your body when you're in the window of tolerance. What it feels like in your body when you are hyperaroused. what it feels like in your body when you're hypoaroused, and then learning what you can do to help yourself return into that window of tolerance. Because if you aren't in the window of tolerance, nothing you do in therapy is going to help. I've created a framework that does help. It's called the Gate Passages Framework. It's an integrated way that starts with a bottom-up approach. It's specifically designed to help your body turn off the survival response, to resolve feeling and body memories, and to help restore a sense of safety in your body. The aim of the Gate Passages Framework is to help you go from "I'm not okay because this happened" to "I'm okay even though this happened." And it's not just psychotherapy. The Gate Passages Framework involves movement, flower essences, Reiki, breathing, and more. You can keep trying to DIY this and ignore the red flags that you're heading for a crisis. Or you can see if this is what you've been waiting for. Book a call with me and learn more.